Hey everybody. Hi, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, it's so good to be back to see you guys here in the CRNA success community. I'm really thrilled that all of you guys joined the success community and that you guys are learning and sharing and networking about 1099. That is exactly why I created this group, to just really encourage CRNAs to step up to the plate and live this independent lifestyle and optimize their family schedule, prioritize their life that works along with our pretty stressful jobs so that we can just, optimize our lifestyle so that we can feel good about ourselves and we don't get burnt out. It's been a great career for me. I've been a CRNA for over 20 years and I've been 1099 the whole time. And I came from a family that really insisted that I go 1099, and they supported me through that as a young CRNA. And so for years and years, I have continued carrying their flag of entrepreneurship. And I love negotiating. I teach others to negotiate. I teach others how to go into the 1099 CRNA lifestyle in a way that is very eloquent and elegant and easy, with the focus on you and your family. That's what my focus has always been, because isn't that what it comes right down to? We have to be there for our families. So I've created this mini masterclass for you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and set up our slideshow here and get it going and just tell you a little bit more about how to go into 1099 in a way that, is smooth on your budget and in a way that optimizes your income. And the ways that your income is optimized it's just one of the three keys that I'm going to go into. I'm going to talk to you about tax optimization. I'm going to talk to you about why 1099 is so much better of a lifestyle than why 1099 is better than W2. And many of you guys know that, or you would not be on this group. So I've also tailored this particular presentation to you guys who are already 1099, but you're looking for a way to really understand the tax structure and figure out how to optimize your 1099 life. The top three keys to success. I'm going to go into that into depth and tell you exactly what you need to know. So the goal here is to find balance in your life, to find freedom and liberation, to understand how to negotiate, to understand how to find the jobs. I mean, when we go to work, we look like every other CRNA out there. Nobody can really tell who is W2 and who is 1099. We do the same work, but at the end of the day, even during the day, we feel better. We are rewarded with the fact that we're 1099 by the docs that we work with. They respect our diversity and our flexibility, and they're so glad that we're there just to fill in. The other CRNAs appreciate us coming in to fill in. And not only that, sometimes we're working in areas like outpatient surgery centers where everybody's 1099, but most of us started as W2. And I'll never forget looking around at about 3 o'clock when cases were still adding onto the board years and years ago and seeing how these CRNAs were leaving. And I'm like, where are they going? Well, they're 1099 and they're on an 8-hour schedule. So they're out of here. And I always thought, wow, that's pretty impressive, So, a lot of times the 1099ers are given the bread and butter cases, and the surgeons want to work with the W2s who've been there for a long time, some of them. And so a lot of times you get a little bit nicer of a schedule. That's not always the case, but sometimes. But just going from one location to another location makes life so much more fun as a CRNA. You don't get involved with the politics. Even if you're working in the same place where you were a W2, you feel the separation from the politics that have existed. So really the 1099 life is a celebration. So if you are interested in renewing your career enthusiasm as a CRNA and you want to increase your income and reduce your taxation tremendously and control that schedule of yours, then come on for a listen for about 20 minutes. Time is of essence because honestly, you've only got so much time in your life, and it's really urgent that you take the time to focus on yourself and your family, because we never know what tomorrow will bring. And so literally, I urge you to, think of this as a way that you can expand your personal growth and your professional growth as you go into more diverse environments. So that's why I'm offering this webinar, to help you make your life more enjoyable, help you find freedom. I mean, we work really hard as nurse anesthetists and we miss out on special life moments. So, I don't want you to have to do that. I was just W2 for about a year before I realized that this was just not working for me. I had forgotten about being 1099, which I had been for a decade as an RN. And lo and behold, I found a 1099 mentor and made the switch. So I want to be that mentor for you today. If you have just a few minutes to stand by, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all about that. And, I think 1099 is really the only way to go to be a CRNA. I wouldn't do it really any other way. I love my life as a 1099er, and I know you guys will love your life as a 1099er. So a lot of times people are really afraid of stepping into 1099. They feel like there's not as much job security, or they're afraid of working in different locations. They may not trust themselves to do new and different cases. But honestly, think about this. You can do this. You made it through anesthesia school. Everything is front loaded. Once you set up your 1099, then everything is very smooth. So don't let yourself stand in the way of your own freedom. And I cannot emphasize that enough. And there are 3 reasons why this presentation is going to help you. And it's because you're being taught by a mentor. A lot of times you think, oh gosh, it's easy to the idea of going to work as a 1099, but how do I set up the business? I have no business background, but that is okay. If you feel that way, you're in the right place, because I teach you what you need to know. So you don't have to, immerse yourself in all of that. You just follow a very simple action plan, and you can get this lifestyle and this income and the savings and really the time that you desire. So take a few minutes, get away from distractions. And we have now about 14 minutes left of this presentation. And I'm going to let you know exactly what you need to move into a successful 1099 career. Because really and truly, we CRNAs, we need a shortcut. We don't have time to sit around and research all that. Hey, we need fun. We need time to enjoy ourselves and to be with our family. That is what's important. And that's what 1099 has always brought me. So that's why I decided to do this class. I've always, for years and years, I've mentored the people around me. People have asked me, how do you do this? And I meet them at restaurants or call them on the phone and we sit down. And I've told them exactly how to do this. And I've decided I want to touch more people. And so I'm going to show you guys how to move from W2 to 1099 while maintaining a budget. Showing you how to find the 1099 positions. I actually created an app for that. And I teach that in Unit 1 of my big masterclass. And then negotiation strategies, I'm going to tell you about some of those that help you maximize your earnings, because there is no need to undersell yourself. You're a CRNA. You are totally worth the money that CRNAs all around the country are making as 1099. I teach you how to negotiate those rates. It is my pleasure and my honor to do that. I have been blessed with this gift to do that. And so I'm reaching out to CRNAs across the country to make sure that you are getting paid your value. I did live aboard a sailboat. This is my boat, Kachina. I lived aboard for many years, which is why I became a 1099. Just thought I'd let you know. And I had my children on that boat, lived down in Palm Beach, and became a W-2 right after graduation, and was completely burnt out after about 2 months of being on call. I wasn't having a good time. I was like thinking, what am I doing down here in Florida? And all I do is work, work, work. I couldn't get time off. The place I was at was understaffed. I was a primary breadwinner. And, you know, I just decided, you know what? I am not going to live this kind of life where everybody's just giving up this wonderful life that's outside of these doors to be here, you know, and I'm just not going to do it. There's got to be another way. And that's when I met some 1099 CRNAs. I did not throw in the towel on anesthesia. I'm so glad I didn't, because I love this job. The 1099ers are always happy. They're refreshed. They get a lot of diversity in their life. They know they're making the money. They can keep track of it during cases if they want to, right there, work on their Quicken or whatever. I actually teach that in the big masterclass too, and QuickBooks as well. But the fact of the matter is you can do this as a 1099. If you don't salvage it, nobody's going to do it for you. So, you have this opportunity. We're in this rare position as CRNAs where there is scanty anesthesia help out there in our nation, and we are in demand. So take advantage of this time, become 1099, minimize your taxes, take that leap of faith. And if this is something that you feel like appeals to you, then hang on for about 10 more minutes. And I'm going to try to real quickly move through this so you guys can enjoy your day. But I'm planting a seed for you guys because I want to share this fabulous lifestyle. If you like a flexible schedule, a lot of money, very low taxes, and plenty of time off, type yes. I'm right here with you guys, and also type where you're located in the country, because I'd really like to see, who am I connecting with? And I really appreciate that. In my big masterclass, I have people from mainly the Central Standard Time and Eastern Standard Time. I do have a few people out on the California coast, but actually this would be early for them, right? 6 o'clock in the morning. So, but I'm going to tell you how to get complete control of your schedule. And what happened to me, right, was I got slapped with W2 reality shock. And I was like, how am I going to get this done? So, basically I came across a mentor, got an action plan, and learned about how to deduct all of these business expenses. I mean, the idea that you're going to be making 40% more an hour, and then you would think, oh my God, I've got to pay taxes on that amount. No, it's actually going to reduce your tax bracket tremendously. Probably from, you must be at 24 to 30%. It's going to bring you down to 12 to 15% to be a 1099 CRNA. I guarantee you that you're going to save over $10,000 of taxes in the very first year that you're an S corporation. And then if you are a sole proprietorship, I guarantee you're going to save about $8,000. But that doesn't even count all of the other savings you have. Because when you are a W-2, you pay all your bills and what's left is what you have to save. But when you're a 1099, you pay all these expenses, which are the same bills that you used to pay, but they reduce your taxable income. So that, in addition to the $10,000 saved as an S corporation, will reduce your taxation probably a total of about $30,000 to $60,000 a year. And so honestly, that's why your tax bracket is dropped. If you add up all of these things, a year's worth of internet, health insurance for you and your family, cell phone, your retirement contributions, your car expenses, your home office, your couch and your computer and everything you put in your home office, your driveway that you have to fix, all of these things, a percent of that is deductible. And, I teach you how to create a plan to account for that so that you can really and truly optimize to the maximum amount. So that even if you're making over $250,000 a year, your tax level is going to be somewhere below $75,000. So that is going to be amazing. I mean, why be taxed on that entire amount? We don't have to. We can negotiate 1099 jobs. They're all over the place out there. I teach you in my big master class exactly how to find the jobs, how to negotiate the jobs, and really how to change your world. So, if you're tired of these things in red, the powerlessness, the lack of autonomy, you feel like you're competing for vacation time because W-2s do, and you can't earn what you're worth because when there's so many W-2s, you no longer have the traction that you have as an independent contractor CRNA. When you have to deal with all the other W-2s also negotiating, then the rates don't really go up very quickly, but you can negotiate you can increase your pay very quickly as a 1099er, because if somebody else in your area is offering more, you can use that to help leverage an increase in your rate. So your benefits, a lot of them you're able to write off as a 1099, a lot of your regular bills. So if you're afraid of making this move, I am telling you, don't let that roll you. Get a hold of that, push past that, Do what's right for you. You know you can do this. I know all of us come from different backgrounds, but we made it through anesthesia school. We make it through every day in the OR. And I promise you, you will love the benefits of being 1099. So there's nothing better than working less and earning more, you know, and maximizing your retirement savings. You can save up to 3 times the amount that someone who is W2 can save in a tax sheltered account as a 1099 CRNA. You know, and to me, I have really loved, you know, to me, time is currency. So maximizing my personal growth, you know, doing things with my teenagers, doing things with my kids when they were children, going to their play, that was huge. You know, so a lot of people feel like, oh, it's just too complicated to do this. But I'm telling you, it's not. In my big masterclass, I give you a year of mentorship, membership, and a very small group of people that network among themselves as they're all moving from W2 to 1099, all sharing these same situations as you evolve through that process. And so a lot of them initially want to know, well, where are the jobs? So I teach that. I have an app that teaches that. And also teach you should always have more than one, you know, 1099 job. And it's not hard to find those jobs. They are all around you. So you can travel locally. This isn't about being locums and moving away from your family. So you can do it right at home. You could save for the transition, but it's not really necessary because we do have to give like 3 months of notice a lot of times. That gives us plenty of time to credential. You should start looking now for 1099 work, and you're going to find it. And before long, you'll wish you could clone yourself. But I do want to say about my aha moment. So my mentor was telling me about all the money I was making, and I was thinking, oh God, all the taxes I was going to have to pay. Then she said, no, think about this. You know, you are going to have to pay minimal taxes because you're going to be paying your own health insurance. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to have to pay my own health insurance. And she's like, no, when you pay your own health insurance, you can deduct that and the health insurance of your family from your taxable income. So don't think of that as a drag. That is actually something that as you're not paying taxes on. So even though it may seem like a lot of money to pay for, it's actually not that much. It's reduced just by the virtue of not paying taxes. And when you weigh that against what you already have to pay in to supplement what your employer has, it's really actually not very different. So when you're aware of key concepts like this, it is smooth sailing. And you might worry, well, you know, maybe I can't find work. I'm telling you, there's very few anesthesia providers. There are dentists, there's doctor's offices, there's ENT offices, plastic surgery offices, all kind of outpatient clinics, orthopedic clinics, eye surgery centers, you know, cataract surgeries, right? All these things that need sedation, pain clinics, even chiropractic offices that have people dropping these epidural steroid injections, they need sedation. I mean, there is tons of work out there. That doesn't even include the critical access hospitals, the smaller hospitals, community hospitals, and then the major medical centers. You never have to worry about work as a 1099. And especially when you keep your eyes open, you click on to new 1099 jobs, and they're not posted. I teach you how to actually network and find these positions. So don't worry that there's not steady work. The work, once you're credentialed, they don't want to let go of you. They don't know anybody else. It is hard for a lot of these centers to find people to work. That's why a lot of them use agencies. They just don't have the tools to find the folks. So I teach you how to find that work. And you are safe to branch out. A lot of people feel like they're not safe, but it's imposter syndrome. I'm telling you, when you walk into an OR, have you noticed this? Anywhere you go, okay, it's set up exactly the same. Just make it your home wherever you are. You can do this. You know, and you might worry, oh gosh, I'm going to burn bridges, but don't worry about that, because just throw your family under the bus. That's part of what I teach. You know, when you let go, you know, when you're turning in your notice, you stick to your contracted amount of time that you're turning in notice for. Be very professional, very deferential, and throw your family under the bus. They will, everybody's got family. They're totally going to understand that. And, you know, just offer your 1099 services as an olive branch. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't go for that. A lot of the workplaces, because they feel like that's a bad example. But 6 months later, when their folks are looking for vacation, you give them a call and say, hey, I'm available. I'm credentialed. Do y'all need any help? I'd love to help you guys out. So don't feel too comfortable in your present practice. You can always go and work back there as you wish, when you wish, and that gives you such an uplifted feeling as well. So it's just a pleasure. And there's so many nice people and so many different surgery centers all around you. Don't trap yourself in that one place because it's all you know. It's time to take the blinders off, move ahead with your life, make more money, and pay less taxes. You can totally do this, but it's about learning how to do it. So there's a lot of ways to learn how to do it, but the best way is to follow an action plan. The best way is to have a mentor. So if you guys are motivated to do this, just let me know, type yes, and I'll respond to you, because honestly, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. When you're taking this big masterclass, I give everybody a full year of mentorship. I give you a calendar link and we get together whenever is convenient for you. Just look at our website, the 1099 Success Academy, and you can see the testimonials. And I'll give you that link as soon as we're finished. But, it's easy to do anything when you have a mentor. You could try to figure it out on your own, but a lot of people get caught up in the weeds of setting up the business. There's so many nuances. So instead of wasting time and energy and possibly, messing up and losing a lot of money, it's much better to get a mentor and also take a shortcut so you can pay attention to your family and get this done all at the same time. It's seamless. That's why I offer this class, the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass, which gives you 20 Class A credits from the AANA for practice management. Because honestly, this is the first step in owning your own CRNA practice. And whether you decide to move from 1099 into opening a ketamine clinic, opening IV therapy infusion clinics, whatever you decide to do, if you want to open a staffing agency or if you want to offer services and do your own billing, this is the step that you need that is in between all of that to make it easy. I bring speakers in my masterclass from all of these different workforces in CRNA, these entrepreneurial workforces, so you can explore your career options. But at the same time, I bring CPAs, health insurance, life, disability, and malpractice insurance so that they can share with you exactly what you need to know, so you don't have any questions left to that and to ask. And in addition, Jan Menino teaches with me, and what she teaches is contracts and negotiations, as well as anything you might need to know as far as doing your own CRNA business. So we are also putting together another course that is the second course to the series about setting that up. So if you take this full course and you sign up to move from W2 to 1099, we will help you do that. You're going to get an 8-week masterclass with 2 bonus module classes and a third bonus, which is, setting up an office-based practice and just some nuances of how you do that. And for that, you're going to get 21 Class A CEUs, and the other presentations are going to bring you about 20 Class B CEUs. And the tuition is only $1,500, basically, $1,497 for that. But really, it's worth so much more. The value of it is actually going to be measured in the tens of thousands of dollars you're going to save every year over your career. But what if it was just your benefits and your budget and your bookkeeping and your tax organization? If all you learned was that, I wonder, would that be worth it? I think it is. Or overcoming the fear and having somebody to always fall back on to get mentorship whenever it's convenient for you, and totally reducing the stress and the time needed to set up the 1099. That's what makes taking a class like this worth it. And there's no other class like this. I created this program because back in the day, I always wished there was a program out there. And the AANA supported me in this, and they said, do it. We support you. We will give you Class A credits for this. So, if this is worth it to you to be completely set up as a 1099 business and you won't have any questions left to ask, that's why it's a good deal. So, you know, for just 10 weeks total, including the bonuses, it gets you from A to Z on 1099. But the fact is, and August 9th, just ignore that. But you can do it. We start our orientation actually on Sunday. So there's limited slots, but I am open. I have had several people already register. But if you'd like to go ahead and join, you can click the enrollment link below. And I did want you to hear one reference that I have that's a live reference.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jimmy Sauter. I'm a CRNA. And I recently took Alesia's masterclass for the 1099 CRNA Success Group. I've been a CRNA for almost 7 years, and W2 that entire time. I recently switched to 1099, and honestly, I couldn't have done it without Alesia's help. Her mentorship has been, I mean, just more than what I could have asked for throughout this whole process of my transition to 1099. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet her and get into the first class, the beta class. And, you know, she's just gone above and beyond the entire time to answer any questions I could have had, offer her guidance, you know, give her input. She was just there for me all the time, anytime I needed her. Because I just had, you know, so many questions, you know, going from W2 to 1099, there's so much to learn, things you got to think about, things you have to take care of that as a W2 employee, you just don't need to worry about any of those things. However, when you become 1099 and start your own business, you know, whether it's taxes or how to set up your LLC or just any number of things, you know, just so many things I just never thought of before. It's been a tremendous learning experience for me, kind of a crash course in these past 3 months. But, you know, Alesia's been such a big help. And then, of course, the group and getting everybody else's input, you know, it's been a real blessing and just helped me out. I just can't imagine trying to do it on my own without that, you know, expertise and that mentorship that she provides, you know, with almost 20 years of experience herself as a 1099. There's not much she hasn't done or seen already. So, you know, I would highly recommend this class to anyone who's thinking about becoming a 1099. I'm a few months in now and really glad that I made the transition. And so, yep, you know, 5 stars. Alesia's been great. Couldn't recommend her any higher. So, yep.
So, you know, I don't really want to toot my own horn, but you know, this is a masterclass that has been needed for a long time. And I'm just so glad that I can make people's lives better. I've dedicated my life to mentor CRNAs and to bring them to a more fruitful life, financially and from a lifestyle standpoint. So if you're interested, then I'll be glad to help you. I'll mentor you along the way. All you have to do is let me know when is convenient. I give out a Calendly link. You just click in there and anything you need to know, filling out the forms for your state, figuring out how to negotiate, what the rates are, where are the jobs, you know, as many hours as it takes. How about filling out your budget? Because that's one of the units is the cash flow budget, which is not a very simple setup. A lot of people have questions about what account does, you know, what part of my life should I pay my vehicle out of? What part of my business, you know, or personal account, where do I pay my office stuff from? You know, there's a lot of mixed use stuff in business. And so I teach you how to make sense of that, how to separate it, how to budget for it. And then you just don't have any worries. And also tax organization is huge. So this has just been something that I have done for years and years. And I'm just so happy that I can help CRNAs progressively move into a more independent lifestyle, even if you're going to be working in the different types of care teams or in a collaborative method, or if you're going to be working independent, either like at an outlying critical access hospital or at an ASC 5 minutes away from your house. You know, whatever the type of job it is that you have decided you'd like to do, you can mix it up. But, you know, each one has its nuances, especially with regards to negotiating your rates. So let me help you with that. It's my honor to do that. It's my honor to help you to the next level. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I'm standing by for any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down here in the chat. And let me just real quick go to the chat. And I really appreciate you guys joining. Oh, I see I have some folks from Kansas. Kevin's from Kansas. And that is right where Jimmy Souter is working, at one of those critical access hospitals. Carrie is in Colorado. Colorado is where honestly, one of my favorite speakers comes from. He lives in Colorado Springs, and his name is Jason Watson. Look him up, guys. Jason Watson is an incredible CPA, and he is really focused on CRNAs. I love the way he works. I fill out his forms. I filled out a form yesterday of his, but he does everything to simplify the process. Brett Mason is from Georgia, and I'm from Georgia. I'm living right here in Savannah, Georgia. So, hey, Brett, good to see you. And Muhammad Hannan in California. And that's where another one of our speakers lives. So, yep, Muhammad, Jan Menino. And I'm sure you've heard of Jan. She's our stellar, iconic speaker who really brought CRNAs to the forefront and allowed CRNAs to have parity in pay with physician anesthesiologists. She worked on that as a project in the 70s, 80s, and continued on through the 90s. And it is because of Jan and her cohorts that we are respected in the way that we are, and we're not the handmaidens to physician anesthesiologists. We continue to practice to our scope in states that allow it, and in states that don't, we continue to push for that. So it is such a pleasure to see you. You know, you guys coming from California, thanks for joining me at this early hour. That's awesome. So, yep, if you guys would like to learn more about the class, I did post just a picture of my e-card, and you can click on that QR code, or you can click the link, and that gives you all the information, all of my links, so that you can get in touch with me. And I'm glad to be here for you. So once again, thank you guys very much. I hope to see you soon. Sunday is our orientation. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, have a lot of fun, take that time for your family. You know, just make these memories today. So you take care. Good to see you guys. See you soon.